Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Burundi, we are still in the off season, but we do have a little bit of stuff we are still going to do here today on the podcast. We got a little bit of news regarding the CHL, which maybe spills into the NHL at some point. I kind of, I kind of think it probably will at some point, but I guess we'll see. And then we got our hot takes from last season, our Mount Rushmore, and then a little bit of stuff at the end as well. So, do we want to just jump right into the CHL, or do you have anything else?
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up perfectly, and yeah, I'll let you dive in here and break down what we're covering here to kick this one off.
Yeah, so the first thing is really the only actual new news that we have for this one is the CHL is introducing a new no return rule for 3-on-3 overtime for the next season. Um, Basically, this means, and I do believe that, I don't know if it's the KHL, but a couple of leagues over in Russia have already implemented this. Um, Basically, what it is the team that has control of the puck in the attacking zone in 3-on-3 overtime cannot go back and just skate back into the neutral zone with the puck during overtime. If that happens, the refs blow the whistle. They blow the whistle. They blow the play dead, and they do a face-off in the defensive zone of the team that took the puck out. So if my team's circling around your team and we go back in the neutral zone because we ran out of space but don't want to give it away, then we're doing a face off back in my zone. So I I don't know if this gets to the NHL level because we know they love taking rules like kind of the CHL is almost a trial a lot of the time for rules to get to the NHL to see if they work. This is one of those ones where I feel like it's gonna be a good rule, but it might not get added to the NHL, you know?
Yeah, 'cause it's one of those weird ones because like the more that you kind of watch the the 3-on-3 overtime in the NHL specifically,
Yeah.
it kind of seems like it's the NHL's trying to force it, and it's very apparent through the refs that they want it to just be constant flow, like constant 3-on-3, and they try to limit the amount of face-offs and you know whistles in between, right? Like you look at the times when the goalies get it and they're like, if they make a save the way they do during the middle of a game, they got no problem holding on to it and getting a face off. But when goalies get it, they're trying to get it to get to their guy to get a breakout pass and try and get like a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1 or something and eliminate those guys, those opposing players that are in deep. And even when goalies make saves, sometimes you even hear the refs like tell them to play it. Like they want to keep the play going. And implementing this would obviously, you know, to an extent would go against that, would result in a lot of whistles, a lot of face-offs and whatnot. So I'm unsure, right? Like it's a rule that people have wanted them to bring in for the longest time, but based on kind of the way that 3-on-3 overtime is going and kind of the way that they're trying to
The way it's called.
have it play out, I don't quite know if they're going to go this route because again, it kind of goes against the constant flow and the fast paced action that they're trying to create within it, right? So
Yeah, because, um, the whole reason that they're trying to bring it in is because for a while, 3-on-3 was so entertaining and so fun. But we've entered this weird, like, for lack of a better term in real life, kind of this new meta in the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years where a team, their best face-off guy goes out there, they try and win the face-off, and if they do, if that guy's not one of their all-stars, they immediately send him off. You send Luke
possession is
Glendening
important.
out there to go win the face-off, and then you send him off for Kucherov or something. And then after that, it's just cycling the puck around in the offensive zone. The other guys can't really attack you too much because it's so risky in 3-on-3. You got to play it safe, and then you just cycle around them, tire the other team out. You're constantly swapping out your guys. Whoever has the puck, the one other guy goes and changes, and then you just tire the other team. Like it's not fun to
Mhm.
watch. It's frustrating, honestly,
It
for both sides. It's
they're
better if your
very
team
hit
has
and
it, but it's
miss.
annoying.
you either basically get a 3-on-3 overtime where, yeah, it's one team that has possession for like 90% of it, and they just cycle through, 3 different lines as they're just bringing it around, just trying to tire out the other 3 guys out there until they get their scoring opportunities. Or you get one where it's just back and forth, and it's just, a rush chance here, goalie makes a save, it comes back, and it's kind of back and forth. Like, you either get one or the other. You either get like an incredibly fast-paced, action-packed, 3-on-3 overtime, or you get just an absolute snooze fest where you just watch one team fuck around with it for 4 minutes, and then
It's
they
like
maybe
watching
score, they
people
don't,
play
and
the
then it goes
NHL
to a
game.
shootout.
Like
Yeah.
it's like watching people play Chell online and like abusing the pressure system. Like you literally just are working on their stamina bar until you can make a move. Like it's pretty lame. So I really like the idea of the rule trying to eliminate that. And I think what they're hoping is that, because it would cause a face off back in your zone, then, teams are very unlikely, they're hoping, to ever have that called on them. They just won't run away outside the zone anymore. So
Mhm.
hopefully that works. Honestly, I think this could work if they might have to go a little further. I don't know if teams would be willing to risk the face off already, but if they made it so that, like, if you take this penalty, those guys have to stay out there and the other team can change, then now maybe it's like, okay,
Um,
this is a huge, like, I think teams would rather dump and chase the puck than take that.
well, I mean, at that point, yeah, I think so. I
I
think
don't know
the
if that's
only
too
way that
far the other way, but
I think the only way that I think if you do it, would even go, instead of the blue line, I would do center ice. I would do, once you cross center ice with the puck, it can't come back across center ice into your half of the ice type of thing, right? Because I think you should still be able to, if you've got on the blue line, there's no pass and the winger's just rushing at you, or whoever's out there. I think you should be able to curl back out, and again, once you curl out, like, you don't have much room, but I think you should still be given that little bit of grace of, like, not just fired away and just give up possession because a guy's charging fast at me and I can't move back at all. I think it should at least
but
be
if a guy's charging
center
down
ice,
on you
but
and both your passes are taken away, I feel like that's poor positioning on your part or really good positioning on the other team's part. Like I think that doesn't happen by accident, right?
it depends on the play. I think it can kind of go both ways, but again, right? It's kind of weird to be like, you play 60 minutes of, you can do whatever you want, but once it's overtime, it's, you get in,
Now there's all these
the other team's
rules and
zone. It's like, yeah, now it's like all of a sudden you're like trapped in a box, and you gotta make it work in the box. And it's like, because teams will just find a way around it as well, right? You're cycling around the other team's zone. Oh, you make a bad pass. Oh, it goes out of the zone. Defenseman goes and grabs it. Like, teams would find a way around it. But at least if you do it center ice, and it's like, you know, and again, that passing thing would be a big thing, right?
that would be huge. I
You
was
want to cycle.
wondering.
It's just like, oh, I go for a bank past my defenseman. Oh, he wasn't there. He misses it. He goes back to get it. Oh, we do a line change, and now right. So now that I
Yeah.
say that, it's like, it's one of those things again where there's just so many little rules you got to put into, where it feels like it would complicate things a lot, right? And I don't even know the best way to go
Do you think
about
a
it, because
shot
again, like,
clock would
that would be,
work? Do you think a
no, that
shot clock
I
might
would
be
hate
better?
that. I would hate that.
Why? Why
I
is
I
that?
wouldn't be a fan. Because again, right? Like, so is the shot clock as soon as you enter the offensive zone,
I would
as
assume,
soon as
yeah,
you
the
get
blue line.
possession, and then what happens again if you make that errant pass, and it's like, you lose possession for a good 10 seconds because you're going to get it. Does that still count as, your time on it? And then what happens if the clock strikes, and what, you just do a face off at center, or,
Yeah,
right? Like,
a
it's
face
kind of,
probably a face off at center ice, I would
but then
guess.
it's still kind of that thing of, putting more face offs and whatnot when they want to kind of have it be a continuous flow. I wouldn't be a fan of a shot clock, especially again because hockey's like so fast paced and you're moving around, like, to constantly be looking up trying to see where the shot clock is and see how much time you got is. And especially on like a power play too, right? Or is it just, or would it just be like once you're
I
on a power
I
play,
would
it's just you
imagine,
you eliminate
yeah,
the shot
I
clock
would
then?
imagine most of these rules wouldn't count on when you have a power play. I guess I don't know about the pass back rule. That one would probably stay. In my
Mhm.
opinion, a shot clock that would have no bearing on a power play situation in overtime. That's the way I'm imagining it. I don't know if anyone's ever implement. I don't know if any leagues ever implemented a shot clock in overtime
The
in
shot
hockey,
clock is
but
the one thing that I'll always be like, I would hate that. I just wouldn't be a fan. I think it just causes too much unnecessary stuff for the players when again it's already just a fast paced, back and forth. Like in the time it takes for you to look up to see the clock and try and figure out how much time, it could get poked off your stick and the other team's going the other way, right? Like because of just how fast it is. So
yeah.
again, if they want to do some of like you can't bring it back and whatnot, like if they can figure out a way to make it work, I'm okay with it. But a shot clock, I'll never be in favor of that.
I don't know. I just think there might be some way that you could get the shot clock to work. I would you definitely have to think about it a lot, but it's just so brutal. There's been a couple overtimes. Like a lot of them have the passing around, but there's been a couple where like one team has it for like 4 minutes and then,
But
you
if
know,
but again, like
they
if
get
they
back
can't
to the
take
top
it
of their
back
lineup
over,
and
if they can't take it past the blue line or whatever, you wouldn't really have that,
do you
right?
think
But
it
I
would
feel like
cut
if
that
you're
out?
able to cycle it within the other team's end, you shouldn't be forced to try and just shovel something on net in the last couple of seconds if you're running out of time type of thing. I feel
I
like
feel like
if you're better
I feel
than the
like it would
other
still
team,
happen.
you shouldn't be penalized for it type of thing. Like
At a
if you can
certain point,
cycle it around on them.
it's borderline delay of game to me. You know,
Only, but that's what I'm saying. Is only if you're going and taking it back like through center into your own end and type of
but
thing.
if
But
you're
if you're
still
hemming
just
the
like
other team in
skating
their
circles
end,
and you go behind the net and then you come back up the wall, you pass it to the
that's
blue
on the
line, you
other
pass it
team.
across.
Fucking be better at chasing the guy down, breaking up passes.
You can't really chase guys down in 3-on-3 though. Like you can pressure them a bit, but like
Yeah, shot clock would just be so weak because then guys would just like do a little because again, like
yeah.
say it goes to Matthews, right, and he does a hard kind of make it look like a shot, but it goes off the boards and over to his teammate, and then it's like it just the clock restarts type of thing because it's like, well, I attempted a shot, it didn't go on net, but like I attempted one type of thing, right? And more than anything, you're just putting more on the ref's plate of like, then is it up to the ref's discretion? Is it up to like whoever's running the clock? Or I
I
feel like
wonder
with
if we
that one,
have
I feel like there's a lot more to it than the
oh yeah,
bring back
there's
rule or whatever it is.
yeah. I think you're right on that. Especially because you do have to, give that knowledge to the players of when the shot clock is, but also, you don't want them looking up every couple of seconds, right? So, yeah, I don't know what the perfect situation would be, but do you
Or
think
even
do you think at
just
some
do
point overtime is done away with in the
no,
NHL?
no. They'll never do ties.
No, no, I'm not even saying that they do ties. Like, do you think there's another way, not necessarily the shootout, that
No. There's
they
really
go
not.
by it?
They want to keep the 3-on-3. Like, you look at how they do the All-Star game. They literally changed the entire format of what was a great way to do the All-Star game. And I mean, it's still not bad, but again, like the All-Star game is just kind of weenie in general, the way that it's kind of been the last couple years. But like they literally went to the format of 3-on-3 because it was just more fast paced and entertaining. But what you could do is if there is no bring back rule, if a team you know, if Austin Matthews gets it and he fires it back to Morgan Riley, who is like, oh, I missed it, and goes back and grabs it or whatever, the ref could also be like, all right, there's your warning. You do it again, you're going to get a delay of game type of thing, right? And then it's up, and then the ref can literally just be like,
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that
yeah,
because
it
teams
was
don't want to risk
you did
a
try
penalty.
to you did try to make a pass and your defenseman didn't get it. That's fine. But if it's a clear one of like you put it back there to where your guy clearly wasn't and you didn't even attempt to get it to him, or your defenseman didn't even try to get it, then you get a warning. And if you do it again, then you get a 2-minute delay of game or whatever, unsportsmanlike or whatever you want to call it. And then
Yeah,
you get a penalty for it. Like that's the way you could go about it. And then
That wouldn't be
You know,
bad, honestly.
it's up to the ref's discretion, and I feel like with stuff like that, it's one that, most fans are probably kinda gonna be on, a aside from, the fans of the team that it would happen to. Most
Right.
fans are gonna be with the ref and be like, "Yeah, like, that's," you know, they didn't even try to actually make a proper pass. It was a clear put it back into the neutral zone and,
Yeah.
grab it and regroup and rag it
And
type of
you know
thing,
what?
right?
If you do it accidentally twice in 5 minutes, where one goal would end the game, and you've had possession at least twice for that to happen, even if both times are earnest mess ups, maybe it deserves the penalty still, you know? Not
Mhm.
every tripping is on purpose. Sometimes the guy just steps on your stick, but
Yeah.
you still can't trip the guy.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's something as simple as, like, yeah, the ref can give a warning, and then it's the ref's
not a bad
discretion
idea.
from there on out of how they feel about it. But um,
That's a good idea.
more than anything, my biggest thing is just, yeah, no, please, please, no shot clock. I don't want to watch overtime and see a fucking big old clock in the top corner counting down the
Yeah.
the thing, right? So
No, that's definitely fair. But I guess we'll see what happens in the CHL if they add any new rules alongside that one, or if uh, you know if that positively affects 3-on-3 overtime, maybe it works its way to the NHL.
yeah, like it's, they're always trying to look at ways to change it and trying to improve the game. So I'm sure they're always kind of doing their homework on it. And if something comes up that they think works and they can make it work in the NHL, I think it's always something that they're going to explore, even if it's something as simple as like during preseason, right? I mean, I know games like not all preseason games are like broadcasted and whatnot, but even if it's something like they've got some potential rule changes, maybe you try it out and you know a couple preseason games or something and see if there's anything to it. Even if it's like you only pick like 8 preseason games or something, and you let
Just
the
a
teams
couple
know
of them.
like this is if it goes to overtime, this is this is going to be in play, and we're just trying to see because again, like in preseason games, teams obviously still are trying to win and whatnot, like they want to win at all costs, but it's not something like you're trying it out in the regular season to see if it works. You can kind of do a bit more of a test run.
Yeah, there's plenty of teams that don't
With
even
it.
play any of their stars in like the majority of preseason games. So like,
Yeah.
you know, the whole argument of like, integrity of the sport or something like that for the preseason, like they just it's not taken as seriously because it's not
Mhm.
they're exhibition games. They don't count.
Exactly, right. So again, there's different ways they could go about it, and I'm sure eventually we'll probably see some changes made. And like I said, I kind of feel like they're always kind of doing their homework and looking at different possibilities and trying to figure out if certain things they potentially want to do, if they can actually make it work and make it so it um, makes sense more than anything for you know the game, the players, the fans, because you kind of got to take all of that into consideration.
Yeah. One thing that I was just thinking that I like just kind of had this idea, and this would not take overtime, but maybe it'd be better than a shootout. Um, so say they, because of TV time restrictions, you can't have regular season games. You don't want to tire guys out. You can't have those going quadruple overtime. So you still have your five. Maybe they increase it to 10-minute five or 3-on-3 overtime.
That's the number one thing I want is that.
So many more games would be solved with the extra 5 minutes. That's double the amount of
Mhm.
time, and it's not a huge add-on. I think that would be great. Um, but say it goes beyond that. Instead of a shootout, what about you know whichever team? Let's say the home team. Uh, they get a power play and they go first. They score, or they don't. Now the other team gets a power play. They score, or they don't. And then it's kind of a sudden death thing. It's like, okay, each team gets a chance, Did they both score? Go again. Did neither of them score? Go again. Or, did one of them just win? Kind of thing. Does that feel a little
Um,
more cuz like that's still clearly like a little gimmicky, but power plays are much more of a regular part of hockey than penalty shots. So it still feels a
so
little more organic.
yeah, so what you basically described is almost like the exact way that the for our Canadian fans out there, it's basically what the CFL does
I was kind of
in their
thinking it like
overtime.
an NFL,
They,
like a football style thing, yeah.
Yeah, so but that's exactly what the CFL does. I think they do their coin toss, and then the winning team decides if they want to start on offense, defense. The other team decides what side they want, and then the offensive team I think starts from the 30-yard line, and they you know yeah they go, and it's either like you get a touchdown or a field goal, and then the other team goes, and I think each team will get 2 attempts unless one team gets a touchdown in the first go and then the other team gets a field goal, or the other way, if a team gets a field goal and then a touchdown, then it's just over. But like if teams just go back and forth and match each other, they each get 2 goes, and if it stays the same, then it's just a tie, right? So it's an
See,
interesting idea, but again, I really like the 3-on-3, and I would like a way that they could create
I
it with just
absolutely
a
think they would
more back and
keep
forth.
OT beforehand before that, but like I guess the shootout's gonna solve it way faster, probably. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, the shootout would just be quicker and whatnot. Um, I think you go 10 minutes, 3-on-3 overtime, and yeah, the bring back rule, but maybe just do from center ice, and then yeah, let the rest kind of get some control of like you know if we think you're purposely kind of abusing it and missing passes to get it back out there and whatnot, like we're gonna we're you guys are gonna get a penalty for it, right?
Yeah.
Or fuck, even just do fuck you. They do it twice, no penalty. Just be like a penalty shot for the other team. Pick whoever
Yeah.
you want,
Yeah,
and they get a
honestly.
penalty shot, and if they don't score, all right, we just go back to 3-on-3. You could just do some shit like that and just create absolute chaos. I don't know, but um, again, I would like to see the league, you know, keep doing what they can to try and make it better.
Yeah.
Because again,
Uh,
when it's back and forth, like just teams going tit for tat off the rush, like that, it's
that's
so
great.
entertaining. It's so exciting. And I would like them to find a way to get more of that.
Yeah. But we should move on from that. We'll see how that affects the CHL next season. Um, as far as last season goes, though, we have our hot takes to discuss. We're going to review our hot takes from last season. We just last episode did our hot takes for the upcoming season. Did you go over any last episode?
No, no, I didn't. I didn't go over any.
Okay, I know that I had forgotten. I'd forgotten mine. I had to go find them, so I wasn't sure if we went over yours.
No,
Um, do we have the same amount? I assume I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, seven.
I have 7-2. I have 7-2.
Excellent. All right. Well, I guess. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first because I feel like this is the one that I should go first with, and because this one never unfortunately got the chance to happen. My first hot take or bold prediction, whatever you want to call it, that I did for last season was that Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau reuniting Columbus, they would combine for 55 goals and 130 points on the season. And unfortunately, we know that we never got to see those two suit up together um, on the Blue Jackets. So I kind of just put a void beside that one. Is that
Yeah.
that one, unfortunately, we just never got the chance to see those two play together and see if that would come together. But that was the first one that I had there, and I feel like that's the one that I should put out there first because
No, yeah, that's a good call. And yeah, I now that you say it, I remember you predicting that. But honestly, until I looked at this earlier, I didn't remember like any of the ones that I did. But yeah, I mean, considering the circumstances, I definitely don't think that's a win or a fail. That's just kind of a, a DNF, a did not finish kind of
and I
thing.
was very confident in that one too. I was very, and
Yeah,
you know what? The way Sean Monahan balled out probably would have come true.
I think so.
I think it would
Probably,
have come true,
man.
and
And like
it's still just gutting we never got to see that
yeah, that
that
sucks, man. Like adding
that
Johnny onto
connection.
that power play, like Werenski had an incredible season. Like
Yeah,
it really is too bad, and unfortunately now becomes a bit of a what if scenario.
yeah, it really does. It really does. But that was my first one that I did for last season.
Well, at the very least, that one doesn't count as a loss for you. Unlike this one for me, which was very far off. Um, my first one was that over. So I actually re-listened to the episode to double check earlier, and so I started off saying that this prediction was over 13 players will have a 100-point season uh, this year, and then I ended up upping it to 15 for some reason. Doesn't matter either way. There was 6 this past year. I was
Yeah.
way far off. There was 9 in the 23-24 season. So I expected to have 4 more or potentially 6 more, and there ended up being 3 less.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was way off.
You think that one was way off? My next one was I had Mikko Rantanen to hit 60 goals in a contract year, and he put up 32. So on throughout 3 teams, so I was pretty fucking far off on that one there. He just barely got to the halfway mark of what I predicted.
Oh man, I think we both went pretty high with our numbers because we wanted them to be hot takes, and well, I guess what we got what we deserved. Speaking of 60 goals, I had the prediction that 2 different players will hit the 60 goal mark this season. Draisaitl was the only player to hit 50, so that
Yeah, that's
pretty thoroughly a brutal one.
Speaking of Draisaitl, I actually did get this one right. I had that Leon Draisaitl would sign an 8-year extension at 13 mil plus. I don't know why I had this in a hot takes because I feel like this is kind of what everybody was thinking, but I had this in here, so I'm gonna take it as a win.
You know what?
I don't know how you allowed me to get away with putting this one in here, but
Well, you know what? It seems like not a hot take looking back, but putting yourself in the mindset at the time, you know, they who was the highest paid player in the league? Was it
McKinnon. Or no,
McKinnon
Matthews.
or
McKinnon,
Matthews?
Matthews.
I think Matthews is 13 point something. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy. It wasn't as crazy as a lot of the other ones, but I don't think that was a slam dunk either. And yeah, you know what? You also guessed the
Fair,
8 years thing, so there is a chance that he didn't sign 8. So you know what? I'll still say that was a hot take.
All right, I'll take it.
My next one, I had that Connor Bedard will hit the 100-point mark. He had 67 points, so I was 2/3 of the way there. But
It's better
yeah.
than my Rantanen one. It's better than my Rantanen one.
yeah, I guess. I've got one that's definitely worse than both of those, but we'll get to that.
I also did have a player pegged to hit 100 points. I had that Sidney Crosby at the ripe age of 37 years old. Actually, they were recording this, just turned 38 today, so happy birthday, Sid. I had that Sidney Crosby would hit 100 points, and we know that he did not. He did break some records this year and whatnot, but did not hit the 100-point club. What
that
do you
was
have?
close
90.
though. I think he had 91.
I was gonna
90 or
say 91. Yeah.
So,
So
I
it
mean,
wasn't too far
not
off.
far off.
Yeah, 91
man.
in 80 games. So if he played those 2 more games, I bet he probably tucks 9 points. So if Crosby just played 2 more games, I think would have had it.
Yeah, maybe we include his 4 Nations numbers.
I still don't think that gets him there.
I don't think. I think the most points
Gets him to 96.
The most points in the tournament was like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Werenski had 6, and then a bunch of people had 5 or something like that.
I think Werenski had more.
The next one I have was the Toronto Maple Leafs will miss the playoffs. That didn't happen either.
Yeah,
I was brutal on these ones, man.
Boy, you think that one's bad? I had Washington missing the playoffs, and that the Detroit Red Wings would make it. So that was all included as one part of one hot take, and I managed to get both wrong. on that. So
I was the hot take part that the Red Wings would make the playoffs? Because
I think so.
because before
I think so.
because before this season, like Washington, like we both had them at like 7 out of 8 in the Metro. Like we thought they'd be horrible. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I'd watched it. I think I just did that.
I think you
I
added the
think it was more
caveat to
than
hit both so that it's a bit tougher.
no. I think it was more that I Detroit picked to make it. And I was kind of just picking a team that made the playoffs that they would like replace. I think type of thing is
Right.
what I was going for. And like they just barely squeaked in and got swept. So I was like, oh, they're kind of the slam dunk pick to be the team that Detroit would replace type of thing if all the other teams made
Yeah.
it back type of thing.
Man, you know how hard a hot take of the Rangers missing the playoffs would have gone? That would have been good.
Yeah.
Here comes my first victory of this. I had the Minnesota Wild making the playoffs, which they did.
Me too. That was
Hell
my
yeah.
next one. But I also had that Vegas misses the playoffs. So I only get a 0.5 on that. They actually ended up playing each other in the first round, and Vegas won that. So it's actually, I'll give myself like a 0.25.
Oh, jeez.
Because
Well,
again, I just picked a team that like, who are they going to knock out? I'm like, I think that's back when we did this back when San Jose still had Vegas's first. So I was like hard on the just believing that somehow Vegas was going to miss the playoffs.
would have been crazy.
And that was not the case at all. They ended up winning their division. So
What's the worst one we've said so far?
I definitely I think my Rantanen in 60 goals because
Well,
he barely got halfway.
well, here's one that's worse than that. I put that Ovechkin will, for the first time in his
Oh,
career, miss the 20 goal mark. He has 44. He
double.
was like
Yeah, okay,
top
that's
5.
actually
He was like
worse.
top 5 in goal scoring.
That's with a broken leg too.
Yeah.
With also like breaking his leg and getting it. Yeah, that's crazy.
I even remember
That's a
putting
tough
that
one.
one when we did it. I had like originally I had like 17 goals or something, and then I was like, no, I'll give myself a little wiggle room, and I bumped it up to 20. Dude tucked 44. He was
Yeah.
like top 5 in goal scoring or something.
You know what I think my biggest takeaway from that is that Alex Ovechkin listens to the podcast. He heard that and he said, "Fuck you. Watch me go out and do my thing."
Yeah,
And he
probably.
did it. I only have one last hot take on here. Again, don't know how you let me get away with this on here as a hot take, but I had that the glorious country of Canada wins the. I put Frozen 4 on here, but it's not that. It
They
was
were
the Four
calling it
Nations.
they were calling it the Frozen 4 for a bit.
It was so many fucking things. There's because the Frozen 4, that's the college finals. But there's like Frozen Frenzy and then Four Nations. Like there was so much shit. I'm like, I don't know what the fucking. So I just put Frozen 4, but Four Nations. But hey, I got that one right.
I think they
That was
called
a
it the Four Nation Face Off for quite a bit before just settling on just the Four Nations as
yeah,
well.
Four Nations. Yeah, that was a shit one. But I
Yeah,
did get that one right.
they were really trying to they were really trying to like crowdsource reactions to see what people liked. But you did get it. And for my last one, which also involves Canada in the Four Nations, I had that Stuart Skinner would be the starter for Team Canada. I don't even think he was invited.
Didn't
That
even get
was
a fucking yeah.
that was Bennington. Oh,
Yeah,
brutal.
that's a bit of a tough one.
Oh man. Oh, that a lot of these are bad. Like my like third closest one was saying that 13 players would have a 100-point season and there was only 6. Like
Yeah.
like that's one of my closer ones really.
But hey, you know what? We tried, and that's the whole point of it. I think the fact that we walk away and what I had, 2.25. I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that
Yeah. And
at a 7.
yours is
What's my
basically at a 6
percentages
as
there?
well. So, that's pretty good.
That's out of 7, that's 32%. That's a that's a grade 10 math test for me, right? Like,
Sure.
that's alright. We're doing alright.
Yeah, I very solidly got 1 out of 7. So, yeah, like none of them were even really. What's the closest one outside of the Minnesota Wild making the playoffs? Like the Leafs missing the playoffs was probably my next closest one
That might have actually been your closest one.
because Skinner wasn't even invited to Four Nations. Ovi
Bedard didn't
shattered my
sniff
prediction.
100.
Only one guy got 50 goals, and I said two guys would get 60. Bedard didn't even hit 70, and I said he'd hit 100. And I didn't even get half of the players I wanted for 100 points.
Yeah, so, at Leafs missing the playoffs, that actually was your next, like, your closest.
By a good
As
bit,
crazy as
too.
that is to say, it
Yikes.
was.
How far down the
Um,
depth chart do you think Stuart Skinner was, though?
Far down,
Oh, but like
far
they
down.
didn't even bring Thompson or Blackwood. They've got to be above him.
Yeah, right? Like,
Did Darcy Kemper go?
no,
Holy
because it
shit.
was Binnington,
Stuart Skinner
Hill, and
probably
Montembeault.
cracks the top 10, but it's still up in the air.
Yeah, like, he wasn't even a consideration.
Oof.
Yeah.
Tough go.
Tough scenes out here, but that's why we do it. We do it for the love of the game, and we always have fun coming back to them and seeing just
Yeah.
how horrendously good or bad we did. Usually, it's pretty bad because again,
Just
it's hot takes, right? So
yeah.
they're
Just
more
looking
often than
at
not
how
they're not
bad
gonna
they
hit.
aged, like I'm thinking of the ones we did earlier this week, and I'm like, fuck, are those gonna look this
They're gonna look
bad?
bad. Yeah,
Like, oh, rough.
I was fully expecting the day we released that for like McDavid to sign an 8-year extension. Be like, all right, well, one of mine's already out the window.
That would have
I
been
was
funny.
fully expecting before the season even started for me to already be like, well, I'm already 0 for 1, but hasn't happened yet. So we're still hanging in there. Um, but it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun here.
Yeah. Oh
Everything's in
yeah.
good fun. Speaking of fun, we do have a fun little segment here. To kind of our majority part of this episode. Mount Rushmore. We are doing our Mount Rushmore of NHL players. Um, if you don't really know anything and you're not familiar with what Mount Rushmore is, basically it's pretty simple. A lot of people do it. It's just we're picking our top 4 NHL players. And again, with these, it's up to each individual person for kind of how they want to do it. Do they do it on based on like impact to the game, just best players? Sometimes people just do players they like the most or whatnot. Like there's no right or wrong way to do them. That's why they're so fun. So what we're doing here today is we got our 4 picks for our own individual Mount Rushmores. We'll we'll go through those and we'll see where we're at come the end of it. Right? I think that's
Yeah.
best way to sum it up.
Yeah. I definitely imagine there's going to be some overlap on our list. I got to imagine there's at
There's
least
at
one
least one.
overlap
There's at
on
least
both of
one.
our lists.
There's gonna be at least one, right? Do you want to kick it off, or do you want me to? Or
I'll kick it off. I mean, I'll just take the free space off the board. Wayne Gretzky.
as you say,
He's
I have Wayne Gretzky too. Like
he's one
you
of the
kind of have
ones in the one of the 4 heads in the middle, and you work out from that. Like it's just like believe me, with him being a bit of a traitor to Canada right now, I would love to be able to find any reason to leave him off, but you can't. You can't. Come on, like,
he's the leader in like every major category. Like
and it's
he's
not
you know
close in a lot of them.
like if at the end of the day you're called and still referred to more often than not as the great one. I mean like that sums it up perfectly, right? Like a lot of these other guys, we're gonna kind of go a little bit more in depth, I think, a little bit, and kind of give a little bit more reasoning. But with Wayne Gretzky, it's like he's called the great one.
If you're listening to this podcast, you know why we both have him. I assume you have him on your list as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
I feel
said
like
that,
he's
but
kind of the one that like every you can have any other 3 guys you want, and like it's like okay, makes sense. But like Wayne Gretzky's kind of like the staple of like on everybody's type of thing,
yeah,
right?
he has to. And
Yeah.
beyond that, I think there's a lot of people who would argue there's 2 or 3 locks to the Mount Rushmores. I gotta disagree because I think there's a good
I think there's
chance
only
that you.
one.
I think there's only one that's a
Eh,
lock. Um,
actually, for me too.
I've got a feeling that I know who you're thinking of
For me,
for the other
I think
spot.
there's act I
So you know
wanna
what?
say 3, but I'm gonna go 2. I'm gonna go 2.
Yeah.
I
I
think there's only 2
well,
locks.
you know what? If you've got another lock, let's hear it.
Um, I don't know if you're gonna have this guy. I think if you don't, you might have another guy. I have Bobby Orr.
Is that your second lock?
Yeah.
Interesting. I thought there might be two locks. I do have him on my list, but he is not one of the two locks.
There's another guy that I'm kind of back and forth. Like for me, I feel like he's a lock, but if other people don't think that, I'm like, that's fair. Um, but I have Bobby Orr in here, and it's. I mean, I put down some of the stats here, but this isn't even necessarily why I have him on here. But I'll list off the stats first. Um, Not all in the same season, but he holds the record for most goals in a season by defenseman, most assists in a season by defenseman, and most points in a season by a defenseman. With 46 goals in a season, 102 assists in a season, 139 points in a single season. I don't have the plus minus, but it's something ridiculous. And he's the only defenseman to win a scoring title.
124
Yeah,
for his
100
plus
like
minus.
124. And on top of that, 8 Norris trophies, 3 Harts, 2 Art Rosses, 2 Conn Smythes on his 2 Stanley Cups. Um, but the biggest reason I have Bobby Orr in here, and it actually goes back to something that I was talking to my one buddy about, and me and him love to chat about wrestling and whatnot. And we are kind of having a debate about Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. And
Yeah.
I put Hulk Hogan on there.
Sports fans love talking about their Mount Rushmores. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Any sport.
And when we're talking about wrestlers and Mount Rushmore, I put Hulk Hogan on there. And he's like, why Hulk Hogan? Like, there's so many other guys. I'm like, yeah, maybe Hulk Hogan in terms of like, when you talk about like Wayne Gretzky and all the skill and all that. Like, obviously Bobby Orr has the skill and not. But the way that like Hulk Hogan changed the foundation of wrestling and like making these, these athletes, these superstars, like bigger than life and giving them an identity and a character. That's almost kind of the way that I view Bobby Orr in the way that he changed the way that defensemen play the game, right?
That
And then people are
that line
like,
of thinking
"Oh,
is exactly why I have him on my list
yeah,"
as
like
well.
people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Nicholas Lidstrom's the greatest defense of all time, Cale Makar." And if you believe that, that's totally fine. I'm not going to argue against it. But they wouldn't be as good as they are, I don't think, and where they're at if it wasn't for a guy like Bobby Orr who changed the foundation of the position of defenseman. And that's the main reason why I have him on here is because he transformed that. And I think you got to give props to the guy that started it all. And that's the biggest reason why I think, for me at least, that Bobby Orr is a for sure lock because, again, just changed the game forever. And I think that that matters a lot when you're looking at defensemen who used to be you sit back in your own end, you play shutdown defense for your goalie, and
You're supposed
you
to be
maybe
a
get the
defense man.
occasional,
Yeah.
yeah, you
But
maybe get the
nowadays,
occasional assist or goal here, but it's locking down the other team. Bobby Orr said, "No, we can do both." And now we've
yeah,
got defensemen who are top. uh, Cale Makar's cracking, like might be top 5 player in the league,
might
and
be top 5 in the league. There's a very
it's
solid argument for it.
following in the footsteps that Bobby Orr set out. So
Yep. I do not think Bobby Orr is the best defenseman of all time. In fact, I think he's the third best, but that's a conversation for another day.
well, who's top 2
But
now? I'm curious now though.
Ray Bork and Nicholas Lidstrom
Okay, okay, fair. Yeah, yeah. Like that's
in that
totally
order.
fair.
But yeah, the Bobby Orr at his peak just was so incredible. Because whenever I'm gauging those things, I value a lot of longevity. But for the purpose of a Mount Rushmore, he wasn't around near as long as most guys, but he was around long enough to make an incredible impact on the sport.
Mhm.
Like how many seasons in total did he play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Is it
6,
8 or
7,
9?
8, 9, 10, 11, and then a year with 6 games,
Okay.
2 years after that.
So,
So
so
10 or
basically like 11, yeah.
and he played 10 games in one of those, 20 in another. So like basically
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
we only really got 9 seasons of him. And I
9
mean,
full seasons, yeah.
even his first 2 seasons were good, but not the same level as the other ones. Like he was well under a point per game in those and didn't have the goal scoring he did later either. But he just completely changed how not just defensemen, but I feel like because of the way defensemen changed, just how everyone on the ice played the game and realized you could facilitate a lot of offense through the guys who were supposed to just be chill and play in defense. So,
Hmm.
yeah, just because of the way he basically revitalized the way the game was played, I had to put him on as well.
Yeah, it's that's kind of like that's exactly where I'm at. Right, it's just the way he completely, just changed the game for defensemen, and I think that definitely matters a lot, especially when you look at today's game and how you know defensemen play and how defensemen kind of get recognized. Right, like you get a few guys like the Mark Edward Vlasic's back in the day, and now the Chris Tanas and Jacob Slavens of today for their defensive play. When you're talking about all these defensemen, people are always talking about the those Kale McCarrs, Quinn Hughes, Evan Bouchards, right? Like the guys that rack up the points in the drafts. Everyone's trying to find that defenseman that can run the power play and put up points, right? Like no team is like, obviously teams are looking for it, but no team ever advocates going into the draft like, fuck, we're just really hoping and going out looking out there to try and find just a shutdown defenseman
Yeah, you're
for the blue
happy
line.
if you
Like,
end up drafting a Jacob Slavin, but
yeah, but
like,
you're hoping to find a Kale McCarr or Quinn Hughes first,
yeah.
right? Like type of
Well,
thing.
frankly, if you have first overall pick and you get an Eric Carlson, you're happy. If you get Jacob Slavin, even at like legitimately how good Slavin is, for first overall pick, you're probably still disappointed.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
that's
being
actually
the
a very good way to put it.
even being like the hands down best defensive defenseman in the world, you're still probably disappointed with it because that's just the way the game's gone.
Yeah, we're gonna have to redo our top 50 players at some point, man.
Oh yeah.
We're
That
gonna
frank
have to.
that's definitely something that we could do like yearly, honestly. Like it
Yeah,
changes so much.
yeah. Maybe instead of
Uh
at the end of the calendar year, maybe we'll do it at the end of the off season here, like a late August or something. Like going into the beginning of every season.
yeah, I don't hate that.
Maybe that's something we'll do instead. I like that. I think I kind of like that a bit more.
Yeah, because then you don't have like the first few months kind of
Yeah.
swaying you depending on how they do. Because
Hmm.
once a year's done, you're not looking at how good a guy did in the first half of the year. You're looking at the season as a whole. So doing it in the
Yeah.
off
Right.
season is probably
Right.
best. But
Um.
I'll go next since you said Big Bobby Orr. This guy, I imagine, I kind of figured you also had, but I'm not sure at this point. But I feel like you probably do. Um, but that's Gordie Howe. Um,
Yeah. So he's kind of the other guy that was like kind of feels like a lock for me.
that was
Um.
the other one I thought was a lock. Like I was like I I kind of wanted to try and find a reason to like put other guys on, but I just couldn't move Gordie off of the list. Like he played his first NHL season in 1946. He played his last one in 1980.
He played in 5 different decades.
Like that's so
No
goofy.
player's ever gonna do that. And like we talked about Wayne Gretzky and the great one, Gordie Howe's his nickname's Mister Hockey.
He's got a Gordie Howe hat trick named after him. Even
Yeah,
even Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, none of those
he's got a
guys
stat named
have
after him.
they
Like,
don't have a stat named after them. Like the
yeah,
Gordie Howe hat trick and what is it, a goal assist in a fight?
yeah. Although I want someone to fact check this. Actually, you keep talking. I'm gonna see if Chat GPT can figure this out. Just keep talking. I'll come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, Gordie Howe, he just played for so long, like, you know, the way like you could just tell in like the way that like well, for our instance, like our grandpa talks about him, like he was just like the hockey player for so long. But like not even necessarily the way that Wayne Gretzky was, where it's just like he's the best. You still knew who like Mark Messier was and stuff. He was the guy at a time where like there's plenty of people who just straight up like don't know really a lot of the players, and
Hmm.
he was Mr. Hockey. He was,
Yeah.
kind of what you said. He was like a bit of the Hulk Hogan of hockey at the time. bit of a
Yeah.
superstar Billy Graham erasure, but and just looking at his stats, like he was good pretty freaking quick when he got into the league. And what is this? 22 years into his career, he finally put up a 100-point season. What?
Yeah.
And then he played another over a decade. Like he was just
Like
around for so long. He was so good. He won several Stanley Cups, I believe 6. Oh, it
4.
looks like
4.
4 and then 2 uh WHA titles.
Yeah, so he
And
was like he was at one time he was the all-time leader in games played at 1,767. Patrick Marleau did pass that. Shout out Patty. Another Saskatchewan boy. 801
419
goals.
games in the WHA as well. So he had over
Yeah,
400 games in another professional league as well after all
yeah,
that. So, you know,
like
professional
1850
games, he's
points.
got to be up there.
He had 6 Hart trophies. Um, I don't know how much people care about like all stars and whatnot, but he was, named to 20. He had 23 NHL All Star selections, 6 Art Rosses, and this one, I don't know if it ever gets broken. 21 consecutive seasons in the top 10 NHL scoring.
Wow.
That's pretty
21.
crazy. I also I this is the stat that I had in
That
my
might
head, and
never
I
get
looked it
broken.
up on ChatGPT here, and it confirms it. So I'm going with this. So if it's wrong, not my fault. Gordie Howe only actually had 2 official Gordie Howe hat tricks in his career,
He played for too long. I just can't believe that.
right? Like I always think
There's
like
no
there's
way.
no way, but like that's a stat I've always had in my head. I'm getting it backed up, so I'm gonna roll with it. It feels weird, but then it's like, other players like Rick Tocchet and Brendan Shanahan racked up way more, but like be so fucking goofy. Yeah, I went out there and put up a Rick Tocchet hat trick. Like, fuck off.
The talk
Sounds
it
so
trick.
goofy. Oh, I put up a Brendan Shanahan hat trick. Yeah, Brendan Shanahan hat tricks fucking going out in the first round every year is with the Leafs. All right. Sorry, Toronto. Getting a little worked up. But yeah, I feel like Gordie Howe's again, kind of one of those slam dunks for me again, right? And like nickname's Mr. Hockey. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
I am seeing, and this is, I mean, so also anyone can edit this, so but I think a little bit stronger than ChatGPT. But it's on Wikipedia under the article for Gordie Howe hat trick. The term was coined by a 1950s New York sports writer, although Howe himself accomplished the feat only twice in his 5-decade career.
Wow. See, but and again, like I'm
Gordie
like it
Howe,
must be right because that's what I think, so I'm gonna roll with it because I'm always right. But I'm like that feels wrong. It just feels wrong.
Gordie Howe's son Marty Howe once remarked, "The Gordie Howe hat trick should really be a goal and an assist and a cross check to the face."
Yeah. Oh, I had lots of those then. I had a lot of those.
Oh, what a
Or
unit!
if it was a slash to the back of the leg, be a Brundy hat trick right there.
Oh,
That was my bread and
huge!
butter.
You were the
Um,
best. You were the best.
yeah, but I mean, we're 3 for 3 with each other so far. I'm hoping that our last ones are a little bit different, but I feel like they might be the same. Do you want to go first with the last one, or do
There's
you
a.
want me to?
I want you to go first. I think there's a good chance that we have someone different. I think more than likely they're different, but we might have the same guy.
What position did you go?
I needed a goalie. I
Okay, so
thought
I did go goalie too, and I know
I
people are probably going to be like, "Oh, Mario Lemieux." It's tough, right? Like he's my honorable
Gretzky
mention. Like
can have
he's the
blasted.
fifth, right? Like it's basically the way that I did. I'm kind of looking at, it, and it's like if you do Mario Lemieux, you got to cut Wayne Gretzky, and you
And you
can't do
can't.
that. You
That's
can't do that.
exactly how I looked at it. They're relatively similar time that they played, but Mario was a little bit later. But you know, other than that, he was just the forward who was incredibly dominant and one of the most of all time. But
Hmm.
what it also includes how much you changed the sport, and Gretzky did what Lemieux did earlier for longer, and
Longer,
all
yeah.
that. Same reason, I would have loved to have Sid on here. I'd love to have Crosby on this list, but at the moment, he's just not quite at the point where I can put him on over, you know, like who do you move? A Gordie Howe? Like that,
Yeah, right.
it feels like you kind of need like one of each position, and that takes up 3 spots.
Does it before we get into the goalies, I'm gonna throw this out there because I do want to I wanna know your thought. Does it feel like and I don't know if I fully believe this or not, but I'm just gonna throw this out here for conversation's sake.
Sure.
Do you feel like Sidney Crosby almost kind of hurt the legacy of Mario Lemieux? Because, like, Mario Lemieux, his last season was the 2005-2006 season. That was, like, Sidney Crosby's rookie season, right? So, it's like, there was never kind of, like, that void left of, like, "Man, Mario Lemieux's gone." It's like, Lemieux's gone, but it's like, we got Sidney Crosby who, came in his rookie year and dropped 102 points, and it's like, we got Sid the Kid now, right? Like, when Wayne Gretzky was, like, traded out of Edmonton, it kinda felt like it's like, fuck, it's just a black hole without Wayne Gretzky. And then, he kind of bounced around and whatnot and then was gone. Then like 99 got retired. But it's like Lemieux kind of left, but it was like it just quickly transitioned to like boom, Sidney Crosby now. Like he's running the show in Pittsburgh and he's the face. And there was never kind of that time to like process, like, man, Mario's gone because it was so quick into you know, the Sidney Crosby era. And then before you know it, a couple years later, he's winning Stanley Cups there and whatnot.
I don't really think so.
No?
I don't think you need that for the guy to be remembered that way, because if anything, like I think, it kind of almost in a way helps his
Not
case
like
just because
necessarily hurt his like legacy or anything, but more so like you didn't really ever have the moment to kind of sit back and like reflect and appreciate what you had with him because you moved into a next kind of era of Penguins hockey that was so good because you
Mhm.
had Crosby, right? Like you
I
couldn't sit
think
back and be like, "Fuck, man, the good old days with Mario," because it was so quick into
yeah,
the Crosby, Malkin, Flurry era, like so quick type of thing. Is kind of what I'm more so trying to get at.
yeah. The only reason I would say no to that is mainly because of Mario Lemieux buying into the team on his way out. The fact
Okay,
that
yeah, fair. Yeah.
the fact that there's a pretty decent chance that we never see Crosby win on the Penguins because the Penguins might have folded as a franchise if Mario Lemieux didn't buy into it
That is
and
fair,
help
yeah.
and help keep it afloat. So I think it's one of those situations where I think obviously plenty of people don't, but I do think a lot of people know that you know Sid can Sid can run because Mario well also ran, but he kind
Mhm.
of gave him the keys to the kingdom by, you know, keeping the damn franchise above water.
Yeah, no, okay, that's perfect way to put it. I just wanted to run that by 'cause I kinda just had that thought there. But for the goalie, I'm really hoping we don't have the same one.
I think there's a good chance we do, but
I have Martin Brodeur.
I do not.
Oh,
Continue.
okay, well, there we go. So I can spew my Martin Brodeur propaganda here.
I was
Um
close. I was close to going Broder.
Yeah, I was debating back and forth with goalies, and I ultimately landed on Broder because when you look at him again, like what was he necessarily like the greatest goalie of all time in terms of like skill and the way he played? Not necessarily, but when you look at, I mean, all time
Vasilevsky
games
says he's
played,
the
like
goat.
1,266 games played, most wins all time at 691, most shutouts at 125, most consecutive 30-win seasons at 12, the most 40-win seasons at 8. On top of that, like his 4 Vezinas, 3 Stanley Cups, he had a Calder, which was kind of cool, and 5 Jennings. Again, like, do I believe he was the best at his position all time? No, but I think when you look at all time in terms of the accolades that he's stacked up and what he was sitting on top of at the time of his retirement, it's like I had to give the nod to him at the end of the day because I think again, like just the numbers, more than anything, speak for itself. And yeah, he played on good teams, but like you look at all the good teams, it's like you need a goalie. Look at Edmonton, great team, but you don't have a goalie, right? Like if Edmonton won back to back cups, you know people weren't going to sit there and be like, oh, Stuart Skinner's the greatest. They'd be like, no, like Stuart Skinner got carried by a good team, whereas Brodeur was a great goalie with great teams, and I think
Yeah.
you need that to be successful, right? So Yeah, I have Martin Broder as my fourth on my Mount Rushmore.
No, that's an absolutely great pick, and yeah, like I know Vasilevsky's on record saying Broder is the greatest goalie of all time, and I know quite a few goalies are
Because
because
Vasi knows puck.
at the end of the day, the goalie's job is to help his team win, and nobody did that even close to the amount that Broder did. Like
Mm-hmm. So
he's
fucking goofy looking at his hockey DB and like, oh, St. Louis at the bottom. So fucking goofy, man. Just remove it.
hey, you know what? To be fair, I will never fault him for that because he ended up getting a front office job with the team.
Yeah, that's true.
So you
Is
know
he
what?
with
I think he's still
I
doing
think
stuff
he's
with the Blues.
I
I
think
think
he's
he's still
back.
there.
I think he's with the Devils now, isn't he?
Maybe. I'm not sure at this point.
I'll
But
look it up here.
I'm
Where
I'm
is
debating on changing my last one, but I'm going to stick to it that I
Oh,
picked.
Broder is the executive vice president of hockey operations for the New Jersey Devils. Was appointed to this role
Oh,
in
nice.
November 2022. I was gonna
Oh,
say
okay,
I
fairly
was
recently.
watching an old draft video from like a couple years ago, and he went up to the podium and made the pick.
Because
It actually might have been the Simone
because
Nemec pick.
well, didn't he draft his son
No,
at some point? I
I
think it was
can't
a depth
remember.
pick. Like they didn't use an early pick, but I thought they might have drafted his son or something like that. Um,
Mm, can't remember. Oh, actually, I think he made the Salayev pick last year, maybe or some shit like.
oh, I think that's it.
But I'll give you the floor here for your final pick here.
Yeah, so I'm still not 100% on this. Maybe Brodeur should be in this spot, but he's not who I have written down. Um, and I almost went with Patrick Waugh. Um, looking at the way Patrick Waugh has 4 championships and 3 Conn Smythes in those 4 is really tough to pass up. But I'm gonna have to because I don't think he's the greatest goalie of all time, and I don't think any of the goalies quite changed the game enough on their own individually the way Bobby Orr did for them to get in on that. So I got to go with who I think is the best. So I went with the Dominator, Dominic Hasek.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was debating back and forth between the two.
yeah, he was like just for as far as talent goes, he has to be the greatest goalie of all time at the moment. Like he's
I would agree. Yeah.
a career 922, just absurd over not over 735 games played, uh 389 wins, 223 losses, and 95 ties. So not an incredible win loss record. Definitely way more wins than losses, but maybe not as lopsided as some of the other guys way up at the top like Broder. But the save percentage is one of the greatest of all time. The goals against average, and just watching him play, you just like he just had such a unique style, and I think he was one of the guys who kind of helped pioneer the butterfly and the really moving around style, along with guys like Patrick Waugh and Broder that every goalie uses now. Like
Hmm.
it's it's crazy because you can't, you don't. It's not super glamorous to go back and like. I'd love to go watch Gretzky highlights from his 200 plus point seasons and be like, holy shit, look at this transcendent player. But fuck, a lot of them, the goalie just looks dumb as rocks, man. They just stand there and
Yeah.
they stick out their arm and the guy walks around him and puts it in an empty net. And it's like, these guys kind of changed that, right? So that's such a huge part of it. And he had 6 Vezinas, I believe, the most in NHL history. You can very easily argue he should have had 7. I don't think Jim the Net Detective Carey ever should have won one of them. Uh, he also
Yeah.
had 2 Hart trophies, 2 championships. Did not have a Conn Smythe somehow, but that's because he won his cups much later in his career because he ended up winning them once he went to Detroit because he was just a killer in Buffalo, but very similar to nowadays, Buffalo couldn't win. Like,
Just couldn't get it done.
good God, man! Just these stats is just so goofy. Like Look at these year-end stats year in, year out. These are all in a row. 930, 930, 920, 930, 932, he's getting better. 937, he's still getting better. 919, 921, 915. Like, good God. He's doing that all on a team that is not very good either. Like, that's so
Mhm.
outrageous. Like that, those are the years where Mario Lemieux is torching the league. Like there's still quite a bit of goal scoring going on. Like that's not the dead puck era yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, right?
those stats are just so goofy to look at that it just had to be him for me.
Yeah,
But
I can't argue with that at all. That's a phenomenal pick, right? Like I was bouncing back and forth between the two, and again, like I don't think you can go wrong either way.
yeah, Broder's sheer longevity, the wins, and solid level of play. Hasek's prime, just unreal. And then if you want to say Patrick Waugh, I mean, 3 Smites and 4 championship wins. Like maybe never been a more clutch goaltender, you know. And I even thought about going a guy like Ken Dryden, 258 wins, only 57 losses. Like
Yeah,
that's absurd. But he played 3 games shy of 400, so I felt he didn't play long enough to warrant it, despite
yeah,
his 6 championships and 5 Vezinas.
yeah. Just needed a little bit more longevity there, I would say.
I think he retired after that and went into politics. I think he like went and became like a cabinet member or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
get out while the getting's good,
Yeah,
Probably, he retired at age 31. He didn't probably avoided concussions or anything. He's a goalie, obviously, but his picture's in black and white. I'm not sure if he was wearing a mask the entire time either.
ended his career on top, and I mean, I guess
Yeah.
if you get back then, if you got the opportunity to go out on top on your own terms, a lot of guys, if they had the chance to do it again, they'd probably take that route. So
And
can't.
also, I just want to Google to make sure that I'm talking about the right guy. Glad I Googled it. I was gonna say the wrong name. Um, I also did consider a couple of older guys like Terry Sawchuk and also Jacques Plante. I almost went with purely based on the fact that he was the first goalie to wear a mask. Um,
Hmm?
he was the first guy to think I should do something about all this rubber hitting me in the fucking face. like,
Yeah, actually took
so,
the initiative to protect himself.
oh man, you know what the worst part is? Back then there would like he probably started wearing the mask after his face was already torn the fuck up.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
there was probably so many people going, "Man, what a pussy. This guy can't even just take a puck to the face. Every other goalie does it. Like he can't man up and handle it." It's like you just know he dealt with that. And it's like looking
Yeah.
back, that's insane. So
Um,
yeah, any
but
of those guys could have been on there.
yeah. But that is it for that segment. That is our official Mount Rushmore of all-time NHL players. If you agreed with our picks, or if you disagreed and you got different picks and you want to let us know yours, feel free to let us know through any of our socials. Again, the links all down in the description across all episodes, across all platforms. Braden, we are now officially in our final segment of the episode. You have something here for us today. So let's dive right into it. What do you got here for us?
Yes, I do. This time I have a game for you. I feel like this one might be a little bit easier than what you often give me, but I wasn't sure what route to go about it. Maybe doing this I'll be able to think of a little more for next time if I make another one for you, but for this time I have a game of categories for you.
Oh boy, the toughest one.
Yeah, the toughest one when you do it. With this one, uh you know, it'll be interesting to see from this side, knowing what it is, how fast you get there, if you get there, where you go with it. So
Hmm.
I'm curious to see what direction you take. But
Okay.
this one
Do I get a free
is
hint? Is that
Yeah.
on the table or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
You give me one every time. It's only fair.
Cool. Cool. All right. What are we
Um,
working with here?
the categories, and these are teams.
Okay.
So the categories are the Tampa Bay Lightning,
Yeah.
the Columbus Blue Jackets,
Okay.
the New York Rangers,
Okay.
the Vancouver Canucks,
Okay.
and the Nashville Predators.
So my goal here is to figure out which team doesn't belong and why. Why are the other four teams connected here? Okay, so Tampa Bay, Columbus, New York Rangers, Vancouver Canucks, Nashville Predators. It's got nothing to do with Cubs because Tampa's obviously they're them and the Rangers are good, but Vancouver, Nashville, and Columbus do not.
Got a good
Um,
mix of those.
thinking, Nashville, the Nashville Predators. When did they enter the league?
I
I think
want
they
to
were
say
around that.
2000,
I was gonna say
2001.
they're right in there because I think they were in there with Columbus and
I think Columbus and Minnesota
Minnesota.
came in. I think they came in the same year, and I think that's the year after Nashville. So I want to say the Preds were like 2000, and then the other two were 2001, something like that.
Okay. So I don't think that's the avenue I want to go down. Could it? Yeah, I mean, it could be.
I'm just thinking about it. I don't want to distract you too much, but I'm just thinking about how Wayne Gretzky passed Gordie Howe for most. It was either goals or points all time in the NHL, and it was like Gretzky's what? Like it was like his ninth season. Like I think he was still with the Oilers, right?
Yeah.
And like that must have been wild for Gordie Howe to hand that over after he had played for 5 decades. And this
Yeah, and then
kid's
when
like,
Gretzky goes to
he's
drop
like
on another
he's like
1,000
20.
after that.
Yeah, he's like 27 years old accepting the award.
Yeah, it's
Like
yeah.
that's
Meanwhile,
he.
Gretzky's passing the torch to Ovi when he's got the gray beard and gray hair and everything.
They look almost the same age.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Tampa. It could be that all 14, like Tampa, Rangers, Vancouver, Nashville, they all joined before 2000. Columbus joined after. There's that.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's kind of stuck on, but I gotta try and think of other possibilities because like that's like obviously one, but I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
route to go with.
When you're trying to think of other avenues to take, it's hard once you like really get focused on one bit of it.
Yeah, because like I can also go, Tampa in the last, uh, you know, 15 years has gone to a Cup final. Same with the Rangers, same with Vancouver, same with Nashville. Like they've all done that. Columbus hasn't. Um, don't wouldn't have anything to do, I don't think, with like draft picks or positions. So I'm not gonna even go down that road. Um, I guess I'll take the free hint to kind of see if it can at least push me
You might as
towards
well.
somewhere where I need to go. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a good thing you did take the hint because I think the hint will definitely help a lot. The hint I have is that it specifically includes uh, the players that have been
Players.
on these teams.
Okay.
So it is these teams had or have something to do with specific players. So it's not, you know, it's not the team's logo. It's not when the team came into the league, stuff like that.
Okay. So it's got something to do with players.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically the players on the team. So it's not the incredibly broad version of just the teams as a whole.
Okay. Um, Tampa. Hmm. Okay.
I will say also, uh, as a bit of an add-on to that hint, um, this when I came up with it, I was thinking in the last 10 to 15 years. Um, and then I realized that there is no time limit on it. It doesn't need that because the odd team out, regardless of time limit, doesn't fit into the same category.
Okay. Um. Hmm.
The categories is a weird one because the people at home even like there's some of these trivia ones where like they can think they know the answer
Yeah,
over you,
but
but
it's
like
this is
they could
weird being on
also
this side of it, and
be thinking, oh yeah, this is it, and it might be a true statement, but is it what you're looking for?
yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Okay, it's hmm. Just trying to think of something to do with players now.
Yeah, talk me through your process. What are you thinking?
I'm just
Where's your
trying to think if
mind
it's.
at?
I was just trying to think if it's got something to do with like certain like a certain player that's maybe gone throughout the teams or something like that. That's kind of where I'm at right now, but I'm just trying to think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would quite fit that criteria. At least if it's within the last 10, 15 ish years.
Yeah,
Um, all it could be something along the lines of a award. Um, in which that case it would have to be Columbus is probably the odd team out, unfortunately. But now it's just trying to think of who would fit the criteria for the other teams. And so I'll just try and work my way through that. And so I know Tampa's got a Art Ross and a Hart with Kucherov. The And that actually, I think, is it because Rangers, Vancouver, Nashville do not. So let's go to like a Norris. Roman Yossi's got a Norris. Quinn Hughes does. Victor Hedman does. Rensky doesn't. And Adam Fox does. So we might be on something there with a Norris. Of all four teams there have a Norris Trophy defenseman still currently on their team, and Columbus does not. Eventually, they will with Zach Werenski. Vasi's got a Vezina. Shesterkin's got a Vezina. UC Saros doesn't. Demko doesn't.
nah, Saros is too short for Vesnas.
Where's Leakins doesn't. But no, still no. Because I was gonna say Bobrovsky's got one with Columbus. But then still you're still looking at Vancouver and um, Nashville. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Norse route. I'm thinking with Hedman's got Fox, Hughes, and Roman Yossi because there's not anything else with the words, and I can't think of at least a notable enough player within the last little bit that would have played between them all. Um, So that's kind of where my head's at right now. I'm just trying to think of any other awards like Calder. Like that's like no, that's not. Jack Adams, fucking Nashville will never have one until they make some changes.
Yeah,
Um,
yikes. Harsh, but
hmm.
fair.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning on that Norris. Oh, well, okay, hold on. I might be stuck down to a 50-50 now because
I was just about to ask if he was
got
locking it
the
in.
Vasilevsky's got the Vezina with Tampa. Bobrovsky's got the Vezina with Columbus. Igor Shesterkin has a Vezina with the Rangers. Not UC Saros, but Pecorine, he has a Vezina with Nashville. So now I'm kind of wondering if it actually might be something more like that to make it a little bit tougher than not just current active, defenseman that won it. So now I'm actually kind of thinking of it could be a Vezina. And I think because it's the harder of the two, that's the one that I think I'm going to go with. I'm going to lock it in that, what would that be? That the Vancouver Canucks. Oh, but fuck. Now I'm thinking about Vancouver. I'm like, I'm thinking about the other goal. I'm like, oh shit, they had Luongo. So actually, it might just be the defenseman. Fuck. When did Bobby Lou, Roberto Luongo? I did. When was he? He was in. Actually, I don't think he had a Vezina. And Corey Schneider didn't because he couldn't get out from Luongo's shadow, and when he started to, they traded him. I don't think Luongo. Yeah, actually, I'm going back to. I don't think Luongo did. So I am gonna go. I'm gonna stick with my original. I'm gonna lock in that the Vancouver Canucks are the odd team out because Tampa, Columbus, the New York Rangers, and the Nashville Predators all have a Vezina winning goalie.
You're locking it in?
I'm gonna lock it in. That's my final answer. And if I get it wrong because of Luongo, I mean, so be it. But I'm pretty sure I don't think he had a Vezina.
Brundy, in your first game of playing categories,
I'll at least take a 0.5.
you are 1 for 1. It is the Vancouver Canucks
It
because
is.
they have no Vezina trophies.
Wow.
I did not realize that there was 4 out of
That
5
hint
that
helps.
had a Norris.
Well, because once I started thinking about play, because I was going the route of just trying to think of like, oh, maybe it's like a kind of like a Yager type thing, right? Of like kind of a player that went through so many
Yeah.
teams. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't even think of like a
Well,
notable. I mean, maybe there
and
is one, but
especially there's like,
none off the top of my head.
there's a couple that have some of the teams, Rangers, Canucks, Lightning have a JT Miller kind of thing, but I don't know if there's any player that's played for all 5. But yeah,
I couldn't even
that's
think of one that was across all 4. So I was like, I gotta just go through the awards, and the Norris one made the most sense, but I totally forgot about Pecorine in
yeah,
Nashville. I was stuck on UC
you went through
Saros,
all of them, and I thought you were gonna forget about him.
but then Bobby Lou got in my head. So Longo didn't. Okay, I was started to think. I was like, I don't think he did in the end, and
If he did, it
that
wasn't with
almost actually
Vancouver.
pushed me back to the defenseman route because I was thinking like, oh, because like Werenski's is close in there, but he doesn't have one yet. So I was it was a 50-50.
Yeah, and I did also give the hint of that I was going for around the past 10 to 15 years, but then it turns out that time didn't matter because I figured, before 10, 15 years, the Canucks probably had a Vezina winner because of all the great goalies they had, but no, they've never had
They've
a
never had
Vezina.
one. And they traded Shilov, so they're fucked.
Yep.
They're not gonna. That was a really good one.
Yeah. When
It's better than the shit
you
I come up with, I think, actually.
when you said, "Oh, I don't think Saros has one," then you moved on to the Norris, and once the Norris worked and you had written off Nashville, I thought for sure you were gonna lock in the Norris.
I was close to, but then I thought, well, I guess I went like I thought with Columbus, I was like, well, I guess Bobrovsky. So I was like, I guess if it's not active goalies, so I started kind of think back. I'm like, well, yeah, Nashville did. Then Bobby Lou got in my head and all that shit. No pun intended. Um, that one really makes your brain just go in like so many different directions, and you kind of get to a point where you're like, you've got a couple ideas, but you have to just scrap them, and you got to just try and focus on one path and kind of just try to make something work out of it.
Yeah.
That was very well done, though. That was a really good one.
Yeah, congratulations. Very well done on your first go on it. You have more wins than I do in categories.
It was a
I
lot
have
of stress. It was fun but stressful.
right? I have a couple that I was close. I think I had one where I said all the players are from Alberta, but they were all from Calgary because I thought
Yeah,
one of them was from Edmonton or something. But
yeah.
I've gotten close, but I haven't got it on the money yet. Roberto Luongo, 2008, 2009, won the Scotiabank Fan Favorite Award. So,
See, that means like, why don't we hear about that more? That means more than the
yeah.
Mark Messier Leadership Award.
Yeah.
These are the
Well,
awards we care about.
I care about what the fans vote on more than I do for just Mark Messier.
Yeah, right. Honestly,
Like, come
no,
on.
that was good. I had a lot of fun with that, but that was a lot of stress. I was not expecting that much pressure on that one. And the hint definitely does help. Like the free hint in that one is
It's
a,
almost
a must.
necessary.
It really is. It's kind of fun to like start off and kind of work through different things in your head, but then it's like, okay, but I need a hint to like make sure that I'm at least on a somewhat of a path and not just wandering through the
Yeah.
woods looking for anything type of thing, right? So
Yeah.
that was
Well,
good.
yeah, you
Had
were
a lot of
talking
fun.
about the teams and you were thinking about all the teams. You thought it might be Columbus at the beginning because they were the only team made after 2000.
Yeah.
But you could have also gone with the New York Rangers are the only original six team in there.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
think of that, but I guess yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
without even meaning to, I put four teams on there and one that hadn't for the Norris Trophy, and that's in recent memory. All of them are still with the teams. Like
Yeah.
that's not even all time. So like there's
Yeah,
there's
that's
just so
that's the
much stuff
tough
going
part
on
with it,
that
right? Is like
you can accidentally put
you can come up with
really
like
complicated ones together.
yeah, like you can come up with like from this one I'm we like four right there, but you could probably come up with 10 that actually make sense, but you got to like figure out the one that it was built around, right? So it
Yeah.
makes it tough, but it's fun and it really gets the brain going. So I
Yeah.
like that.
For that reason, because we've just been doing it with five teams, but you could do it with less or you could do it with more. You could up it to eight teams, and then maybe the answer is a little bit easier. The thought process to get there, but
Hmm.
you know
You got more to kind of work with, type of thing.
if you're not looking up like stats and you're not looking up like awards list, you have to try and remember in your head all of the all of the award winners. Like,
Yeah.
if we did that one with a couple more teams and I added, a Washington because in 2015 or 2016 or whenever Holtby won the Vezina, like if you don't remember that, then maybe it throws you off.
Yeah. That's exactly right. But that was a lot of fun. Going through our previous hot takes, seeing how bad we did,
Yeah, those are
reviewing our
brutal.
Mount Rushmores and whatnot. Again, if you want to let us know how you did on the categories, or you want to let us know your thoughts on our Mount Rushmores, or want to let us know what yours are, you can do so through any of our socials. Again, as you know, all the links to the socials are in the description across all episodes, across all platforms. Braden, we're about to ride off into the sunset for this weekend, but I must ask you for your final thoughts.
Final thoughts. If you were listening to the Mount Rushmore segment and you were waiting for either of us to say Gary Bettman, go dunk your head in a bucket of
I was
ice.
close. I was close. Okay, I'll go down my head. I'll go do that actually, because I was debating. It's between him and Lou Lamoriello, and broke my
Ted
heart.
Lindsay.
But either
Ted
one,
Lindsay could have been on there. He was huge. I think he
easily
started
could.
the players. I think he
Yeah,
started the Players Association. So you know what?
yeah.
Very
That's
well could have
also
been on there
encouraged,
just
yeah.
as a builder
Mhm.
and a great player.
And yeah, 100%. But that's it for this episode. We're out of here. Once again, hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you lovely people out on the ice next week.